Yo, I keep refilming this because I'm so out of practice. I don't know how to talk anymore. It's like, it really is true that if you don't use it, you lose it. Man. So hi everybody, my name's Emily, and welcome to my channel if you're new. I know I haven't posted anything in like 3 months, and I don't have any excuses. And honestly, I'm not going to make any excuses. I just fell out of the habit of filming, and yeah. But the March Mystery Madness crew, some of us are doing we're doing a readathon called Mid-Year Mystery Madness or something like that. We haven't nailed down the details yet, but I figure I'd better get back in the habit of filming before we start posting our announcement videos for that. So I'm just going to talk about a few things that I've read since May. I'm not going to show you everything because A, that's a lot of books, and B, I read a lot of these books from the library and I already took them back, so like I'm not going to get them just for a video. But anyway, let's get started. So the first thing I wanted to mention is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, which is like a book that I was in the middle of the last time I filmed. So here's the book, and this was my book club's book for April, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't love it like a lot of people seem to, but it was very, very interesting. You probably heard about this. Addie is a woman that sort of makes a deal with a devil-like figure to live forever, but because because of the way the curse is set up, nobody ever remembers her. And so she's gone through hundreds and hundreds of years with, nobody remembering her from one moment to the next. And she finally meets somebody, a man named Henry, I believe, who does remember her. And so it's about their relationship, and it's about Addie's life, and it's also about her relationship with the devil-like figure. As I said, I enjoyed this. I didn't love it like many people seem to do, but it was a really fun time. And this was also the first time that my book club had met in person again since February 2020, so it was really fun to get together with the ladies and hang out and sit on the back porch and just talk about books and talk about life. And yeah, it's just, we've been having Zoom meetings, but it's just not the same. So yeah, I always have fond memories of this book just because having in-person book club again was so great. I also finished rereading the Anne of Green's Gables series, which ended with Rilla of Ingleside, and this was a series that I've really loved as a kid, and I'd always been meaning to reread it, so I started it back in late 2020, and I finally finished it this summer. I've really enjoyed it. I always really enjoy it, and I will say that I think I enjoy their earlier books the most. Once it got to Anne's married life, it gets kind of repetitive because there's a lot of similar things in the books. There's like this kooky character with a tragic backstory, and then you see the tragic thing resolves itself in some fashion. But anyway, I really enjoyed this whole series, and I will definitely reread at least the earlier books again at some point in my life. I also participated in Jane Austen July. I read The Heiress by Molly Greenlee, and this is a book that's told from the perspective of Anne de Bourgh, who is Lady Catherine de Bourgh's daughter, and the woman that Darcy was meant to marry before he met Elizabeth. And what's interesting about this book is the plot of Pride and Prejudice is literally talked about in the span of one chapter, and then the rest of the book is Anne de Bourgh after the events of Pride and Prejudice, and we see her life because in this book it's theorized that the reason she is in such poor health is because she has an addiction to laundrium, which is like smelling salts and a medicine that calms your nerves. And so we see how she sort of takes over agency of her life, and she gets off of the Lanadrum, and we see how she goes to London and starts meeting people and making friends and just having independence for the first time in her life. It's a really interesting story, and it's definitely a new perspective on the Pride and Prejudice story. And in a way, Darcy and Elizabeth, they're not villains or anything, but Anne just has like kind of a low opinion of them just because of how they treat her throughout when they're there in the novel. But anyway, it's a really interesting book. Definitely recommend it if you are looking for a Pride and Prejudice retelling that's sort of different and unique. I also reread Persuasion by, of course, Jane Austen for the read-along that was hosted by the host of Jane Austen July. And actually, I didn't read it with the readathon. I actually read it earlier in the month because one of my coworkers, I was telling her about Jane Austen July, and she was really interested and intrigued, and I mentioned that they were going to be reading Persuasion for their read-along, and she was like, "Oh, what if I read Persuasion with you, and then we go out for tea?" And so that's what we did. We went to a local tea shop in our area, and we got tea and scones and cake and sandwiches, and it was really, really fun, and it was such a great excursion. This coworker has become a really good friend of mine because we're both single and we're both in our 30s, and we have a lot of things in common. We're both librarians, of course, and so yeah, it's just been really fun. And she's very outgoing and extroverted, and so she's been getting everybody at work to go on social events with her. We've gone bowling, we've gone to some trivia in downtown Dallas. We've done some really fun things at her behest. So yeah, it was a really great time with her, and I really, really enjoyed reading this book and talking about it. And we had a fabulous conversation talking about like the importance of marriage and the role of marriage, both back in Austen's time and today. And yeah, it was just a really, really great book and time and reading experience. After Jane Austen July was over in August, I actually read a Persuasion Retelling, which was by the book by Julia Sonneborn, and this is about this is like a modern version of Persuasion with Anne being she's not called Anne Elliot, but she's called Anne, and she's an English professor, and the president of her college where she works is actually her ex, and his name is Adam. And so we see their love story, we learn about how they broke up, we see how they come back together. It's just a really, really sweet, modern retelling of Persuasion, and I do recommend it. It's very light, it's brain candy. It's not something you want to read if you're looking for a hard read, but if you're going to the beach or something at the end of summer and you need something quick and easy to read and you want something Jane Austen inspired, I would definitely recommend this. Recently, I read a book in one sitting, and that was Ella, Minnow, P by Mark Dunn, and I read this for the Felicia from Little Prairie Library was doing a read-along, although I don't really know if I participated in the read-along since I read it in the span of one day, but it was a really good book. This is about the fictional island of Nola, which is allegedly off the coast of South Carolina, and it's named after the alleged inventor of the sentence, "The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog," which has all of the letters of the alphabet in it, and there's a statue in the middle of town and with this phrase on it, and the letters start falling off. And so the town council rules that you can no longer say letters that have fallen off this sentence. And so it's about how this affects the town. It's told in letters primarily, and it's a really, really fun, fast book, and it actually has a really important message as well as being a cute, wordy book. What I'm currently reading is Inferior, How Science Got Women Wrong and the New Research That's Rewriting the Story by Angela Saini. And I just started this. I haven't made much progress on it, but it's about how, science was predominantly ruled by men for a long time, and they used science to sort of justify their treatment of women. And of course now science is becoming a more equal field, although there's a long way to go. And so it's showing how the women in science are sort of overcoming old stereotypes and using science to prove that women are more equal than it appears. I'm also currently reading The Trouble with Goats and Sheep by Joanna. This is a book that's been on my TBR for a long time, and I just really wanted to read it this month, so I picked it up. And it's about two girls, Tilly and Grace, and one of their neighbors goes missing, and so they are trying to figure out why she went missing, and they're going around interviewing people in her neighborhood, and it appears that things are not what they seem, and so they're just finding out more about the place that they live so that they can find out what happened to their neighbor. So those are just a few books that I've been reading lately and the things that I've read over the past few months. Some of the things I've read over the past few months. Obviously, if you want to see everything I've read since my last video, you can check out my Goodreads, which is always linked down there. I will be back to post my announcement video for not March Mystery Madness, Mid-Year Mystery Madness pretty soon, and it's going to be super casual. I think it's just going to be like 1 week. Again, we haven't really set anything in stone yet, but yeah, we're looking forward to Mid-Year Mystery Madness, and I will talk to you later. I hope everybody's reading some great stuff, that you had a wonderful summer, and yeah, and you're keeping safe and healthy. Talk to you again soon. Bye!